In the heritage boot world, there are a few styles that characterize that balance of heritage and versatility with ruggedness and good looks, like a service boot does. And if you love service boots, despite a pricey icon or two, there are enough examples of good-looking service boots available at a price that you can afford. How you going? Welcome to Bootlosophy, and if this is the first time we've met, my name is Teg. I'm recording on Gallup in Perth, Kalikul Wajak Nungabuja. Now, few styles of footwear balance heritage, versatility, and rugged elegance quite like the service boot style. Originally derived from military footwear issued during the 20th century, and more particularly, I think, the First and Second World Wars, service boots were designed with a simple mission: reliability in harsh conditions, because soldiers needed boots that were durable, comfortable for long marches, easy to maintain, and simple enough to manufacture in large numbers. The design that emerged from those needs still defines the modern service boot. The profile is sleeker than the original, but it's still clean and purposeful. Usually a plain toe or a very simple cap toe. Very minimal ornamentation and sturdy leather construction. The height is typically around 6 inches, offering ankle support without becoming bulky. Modern examples usually feature Goodyear welt or stitch-down construction. High quality, full-grain uppers and durable rubber or sometimes leather soles. What began as military equipment eventually became a cornerstone of heritage menswear. Today, now depending on the brand, the service boot sits comfortably between dress shoes and heavy work boots. It can be worn with denim, chinos, or even wool trousers, and depending on the leather and last shape, can lean either refined or rugged. You may have come into the heritage boot world, as I did, after being attracted by a modern service boot. In my case, it was the White's MP boot. However, when boot nerds discuss the pinnacle of the category, the conversation either begins with or references a Viberg Service Boot. But look, there are enough brands today to make their version of a service boot that if you cannot afford a Viberg at $1,000 or more, there are alternatives that, in my opinion, give you value for money at their price ranges. I'll leave links to the boots we look at down below. I mentioned Viberg, so let's start there. The Viberg Service Boot in this 2030 last in brown Horween Chrome Excel leather, it's probably the benchmark service boot. Retailing at over $1,000 today, it sits firmly in the luxury tier of heritage footwear. Built in Canada using stitch-down construction, Viberg Service Boot, trademarked, combines work boot durability with unusually refined proportions. Now, much of that refinement comes from the Viberg 2030 last, which features an elegant almond-shaped toe and a relatively sleek profile that's inspired by vintage Canadian military boots. The brown Chrome Excel version perfectly captures what makes the boot so desirable. Chrome Excel leather, produced by Horween Leather Company, is known for its rich pull-up effect, oily feel, and really great durability. Over time, it develops a deep patina that reflects years of comfy wear. What truly distinguishes Viberg is, however, the finishing. Stitch density, pattern alignment, and leather selection are all executed with remarkable precision. The result is a boot that manages to feel both rugged and sophisticated, something few brands balance as successfully. The downside, of course, is the price. At over $1,000, Viberg represents an aspirational purchase for many collectors. Fortunately, the broader service boot landscape offers compelling alternatives at a range of price points, so let's look at some of them. At the accessible end of the spectrum sits the Thursday Boot Company's Captain Boot. Since their foundation, Thursday has priced the Captain at US $199 and incredibly has not increased prices despite COVID strictures, worldwide economic uncertainty, and time. The Captain has become one of the most popular entry points into welted heritage boots. It was mine. The Captain is a cap-toe boot rather than the plain-toe service boot, but its proportions and styling place it firmly in the same aesthetic family. It features Goodyear welt construction, proprietary chrome-tanned leather uppers, and a relatively sleek last designed to be versatile in both casual or slightly dressy settings. What makes the Captain particularly appealing is value. Thursday focuses on direct-to-consumer pricing and streamlined manufacturing in León, Mexico to keep costs down while maintaining key features that enthusiasts want: a welted construction, good leather uppers, and reasonable durability. Compared to premium brands, the leather is thinner, and finishing is maybe a little less meticulous. But their brown chrome leather is, in my opinion, quite underappreciated. Visually, the Captain captures a lot of that service boot look. For many people, it's a gateway boot that introduces them to the world of heritage footwear. Moving into the mid-range tier, the Cordobes Service Boot from Cordobes Boots offers something particularly appealing: customization. The standard ready-to-ship models can be bought for around US $230, so it's in that economic category. Now this one is a plain toe, but you can get a cap-toe version as well. But rather than offering a single fixed configuration, Cordobes allows buyers to select from a range of options. Customers can choose different leathers, toe structures, soles, hardware, even lasts, and even the construction method. This flexibility means the boot can lean either toward refined heritage styles or toward a more rugged interpretation. Now, the ability to choose from different leathers, I think that's incredible. That adds an element typically reserved for much more expensive brands. The choices are mostly Mexican tanned leathers, that's true, and so that reflects in the price. Prices do vary depending on configuration, but typically, customization lands somewhere around the $400 mark. Made in Mexico, in many ways, Cordobes represents the enthusiast tier of service boots. The wearer begins to think about what leather types they might like, what sole types and other personal preferences, moving beyond the entry-level experience into something that's more tailored. Another standout in the enthusiast tier is the Parkhurst Allen boot from Parkhurst brand. This version is made with Tempesti veg tan, and it's one of my favorites. Based in New York State, but now manufactured in Spain and Portugal, Parkhurst is a small batch manufacturer, so often brings out specialty leathers in a season and sometimes runs out. And that's that for that leather until the next season. This veg tan from Italian tannery Tempesti is unfortunately, I think, no longer available, but Parkhurst now offers an oily veg tan that's very similar to this from a Spanish tannery. I have a pair of their Chelsea boots in that Spanish veg tan, and the oils and pull-up is actually quite incredible. Very ripe for patina. Typically priced around $420 to $450, the Allen offers a remarkable balance between craftsmanship and accessibility. If you want a cap-toe version of a service boot, Parkhurst also makes the Richmond boot to meet that half of the market. Parkhurst boots are known for their distinctive last shape, a combination last that is sleek but not narrow, with a natural taper that flatters the foot. The construction quality is good for the price range, with careful stitching and very well selected materials. The veg tans now offered by Parkhurst are a highlight. They have a textured surface and really dramatic pull-up characteristics. It develops a high contrast creasing and it patinas quickly, giving the boot a lived-in character even after a relatively short wear. If Viberg represents the pinnacle of refinement, Parkhurst often feels like the enthusiast's sweet spot. Premium materials and thoughtful design, maybe with a little less finesse and a little bit more ruggedness, but without the four-figure cost. Here we go, returning to the premium tier. I want to show you my personal grail boot, the White's MP boot from White's Boots. White's price their standard MP boots just under Viberg pricing at around $800 to $820. but you can get them in the CMP version at under $700 US. Yes, it is back to that premium tier, but I think these are a style alternative to the elegant and dressier Viberg Service Boot. The White's MP is the still can be worn by soldiers version of a modern service boot, made ruggedly with far less finesse in the finishing. While Viberg emphasizes the refinement, White's draws from the rugged traditions of the Pacific Northwest bootmaking industry. Boots from this region of the US are built with durability as the first priority, using thicker leather, heavy stitching, and robust construction designed for demanding environments. The MP boot, standing for Military Police Boot, reflects that heritage while still maintaining a relatively sleek profile. When produced in this natural chrome XL, it becomes particularly striking, I think. The pale leather starts like golden, and it darkens dramatically as it absorbs the oils from your feet and hands and reflects wear. Looking at this pair now, it's hard to believe it started off with a pale, light honey color. In the traditional MP boots, White's uses a hand-welted rolled welt in what is technically a stitch-down boot. A piece of the same leathers as the uppers are stitched grain side to grain side to the bottom edge of the uppers, and then rolled over to form a welt and then stitched down to the midsole. This is actually unique, and it befuddles even great cobblers. The cheaper CMP version is a standard stitch down. The uppers are turned out as usual and then stitched down directly to the midsole. Where Viberg feels precise and polished, White's feels substantial and rugged. The leather is often thicker, the construction is heavier, and the overall aesthetic more workwear oriented. For wearers who prefer durability and character over elegance, the MP boot can be the more compelling choice for a few $100s less. The enduring appeal of the service boot lies in its balance, I think. It is rugged without being bulky, classic without feeling formal, and practical without sacrificing style. Brands like Viberg have become icons within the category, setting a standard that boot lovers admire. But the beauty of today's boot market is that the service boot exists at many levels, from the accessible Thursday Captain to the customizable Cordobes to the Enthusiast Parkhurst Allen or Parkhurst Richmond and the rugged heritage of White's. There are compelling options across a wide spectrum of prices. I could mention many more with examples from the economic brands like Luos Jet and Craft and Glory, maybe higher end examples from Oak Street bootmakers, more mid-range stuff from Grant Stone, Wolverine, Allen Edmonds. It's a style that kicks off our desires. Why? Service boots are undeniably cool. Their military roots, timeless design, and ability to age beautifully make them one of the most satisfying styles of boots a boot nerd can own. And while the icons may inspire us, the alternatives ensure that almost anyone can step into the world of service boots without necessarily spending $1,000 to do it. So, tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you a service boot lover like I am? What brands are your grail boots, and what would you buy if you wanted a lower price version? And don't forget, since you're fiddling around down below, click on like and subscribe too. Why not? It helps me grow my channel and helps me to make more boot review videos for you. But I am back next week anyway. Don't stop me. So take care in the meantime, and see you again soon.